Manchester United are back in talks with Frenkie de Jong. Eric Ten Hag and the midfielder have been in consistent conversation since the closing of the summer 2023 window. Manchester United still see him as a crowning piece of the crown, a centerpiece to what they're trying to create. They see him as an integral part of what they are trying to create in the medium to long term. Frankie de Jong privately has made it very, very abundant that he is willing to join Man United, that he is open to the idea, that he has seen the improvements that Eric Ten Hag has been creating. Life at Barcelona isn't quite as they promised. Yes, he's receiving those deferred wages as of now, but Barcelona, one, find themselves in financial difficulty again. They're currently behind on financial fair play rules within the Liga and cannot sign anybody on a one-to-one basis. They are still applying pressure on Frankie de Jong to leave. And Man United feel that this is the right time again for them to strike. This may not be a January deal that sees the player join Manchester United in that period, but a lot of work could be done to making this a summer 2023 deal. At the same time, Manchester United are in conversations with representation from Paris Saint-Germain, who are key to place a £30 million bid on the head of Fred, a Man United player maligned by many, loved by others, but certainly a polarizing figure within the Manchester United fan base. Is he good enough? Is he not? He cost £50 million a few years back. The chance of recouping 30 million of that is highly, highly desirable to Manchester United, Ten Hag, and of course, John Myrtle. But we want your thoughts and we want your feelings. Frankie de Jong to Manchester United is still on. Let's do this. It was the big summer saga that never happened. Frankie de Jong, Manchester United. The word from day one was the player doesn't want to leave Barcelona. He happy at Barcelona, dream club at Barcelona. No way he was going to go anywhere. There's no point Man United looking. This is a dead deal. There were many credible reports, the likes of Sammy McBell as an example, that spoke about the personal terms being agreed. And they were. There was never an issue between Man United and Frankie de Jong. This was never said publicly, but we know the real reason that he stayed. Forget what he says in the media. 17 million reasons he stayed at Barcelona, those deferred wages. He also wanted, there's no doubt, to try to recoup a spot in the team. But with Kessie coming in, of course, with Gavi and Pedri being the future stars of that midfield, it hasn't been the easiest starts to this season for Frankie de Jong. Now, as much as he is getting his money and he's relatively happy with life at Barcelona, he's also seen improvements at Manchester United this season, where United are climbing up the table through to the quarterfinal, of the Carabao Cup, doing well in the Europa League, and will actually play Barcelona in the next round, which would also be another kind of eye opener for all parties involved. But Frankie de Jong has reportedly been holding secret meetings with Eric Ten Hag. They were secret until they were revealed, of course. And in these meetings, Ten Hag has consistently expressed his desire to bring him to Man United, his admiration for what a good player he is, and continually explained to Frankie that United are building a team, they're building a system. And as great as Casemiro has been, there is a place in the side for both of them, especially when a double pivot is used. Casemiro and Frankie de Jong are very different players from one another. Christian Eriksen has done a very good job next to Casemiro, but no disrespect to Christian Eriksen, de Jong is a level above in most people's eyes. It's still going to be tough to get the deal done with Barcelona that want a lot of money, but they also want Frankie de Jong to leave still. I don't care what the PR statements say. I'm happy at Barca. Barca, we love de Jong. He's part of the future. He isn't. If Man United bid the right amount of money and Frankie de Jong relinquishes this deferred wages, he will leave. Nothing has really changed from the summer. Nothing at all has changed from the summer. Personal terms with Man United will be no problem, but he wanted that deferred wages, and listen. There is definitely a desire in there. Go, well, I know they don't really want me, but I'm going to prove them wrong. That hasn't really worked unless there's a U-turn at Barcelona and he becomes the star of the midfield. He's going to continually be pushed out further and further and further. Interestingly, surrounding this deal is Fred. Now, Fred is, of course, a player who I myself have been so polarized, so hyperbolic, and a flip flop with. There's no doubt. He's gone through 2 or 3 month periods where I've gone, that's the £50 million player we bought. That's why Pep Guardiola wanted him. And then without other moments where I thought to myself, God damn, this guy is worse than McTominay. He's one of the worst central midfielders we've had since Jemba Jemba. Why is he at Man United? And how did he cost £50 million? Paris Saint-Germain, though, are looking at him. Paris Saint-Germain are looking at him. Paris Saint-Germain are interested in him. And Paris Saint-Germain are considering a £30 million bid. Now, I said the other day, this was what was very intriguing and very important about the extensions of the contracts on the Freds, Shaws, Rashfords. Is there the possibility it can earn you money? If we don't trigger that contract extension, Paris Saint-Germain could speak to the player for free now. That £30 million fee would still be paid in different ways. When you sign players on a free transfer, invariably they have higher wages. They get massive signing on fees, which aren't paid in lump sums up front. They're paid a lot like transfer fees. They're paid in staggered amounts over the length of the contract. And often they're called loyalty bonuses in many ways. So that £30 million I have to give to Man United, they would have used up in other ways, shapes, and forms anyway. So PSG are not really saving money because there's no such thing as a free transfer at the higher end of the spectrum. It could be slightly cheaper than buying somebody, but you're still spending in and around the same money. So that's why another reason why net spend is a myth. But Fred leaving could be very, very important for the deal for Frenkie de Jong. It would raise 30 odd million pounds. It would remove a big wage from Manchester United's books as well. And I was actually looking at this morning. His actual salary at Man United is not the highest in the world. It won't be as high as Frenkie de Jong's, but it's still pretty big. I was looking at this morning on Sport Rack. I just want to make sure I get Fred's salary right. There it is. Bear with me a second. 120. No, I'm a liar. I am a liar. It's I've got to close that down again. Yeah, £120,000 a week. Still a considerable amount of money to save. You're talking over £5 million a year in wages and £30 million a year coming in. So £35 million of income has been raised. That is a big dent into the cost of Frenkie de Jong. Plus, it opens up a huge hole in the squad for Frenkie de Jong to fill. It also improves Man United exponentially. Suddenly, you've gone from McFred to Frenkie de Jong and Casemiro. Frenkie de Jong and Casemiro, and I mean this sincerely, that could be the best midfield partnership in the Premier League. It could be Man United's best midfield partnership since Roy Keane and Paul Scholes. Genuinely, it has everything you want. That level of midfield is what the best team in the world should have. And Man United might be able to bring it in. And then you supplement that with Christian Eriksen, with Bruno Fernandes, youngsters coming through, like Zidane Iqbal. There are some serious players in there. Man United have got to try and get this done. The talks are happening. I believe this. It's come from very credible reports that Man United are in these talks. PSG are genuinely interested in someone like Fred, and it's a great move for Fred. Do I think this is going to happen in January? No. If it does, I'll be shocked. One, I don't see Barcelona strengthening Man United before the clash in the Europa League. I don't see that personally. Equally, if we can't get him, we're not going to let Fred leave. This feels like a summer deal. But as we've seen many times, especially in recent years, deals for the summer of 2023 can be constructed and put together in the January period. By the way, most January deals don't start in January, they start in the September. Most summer deals don't start in the summer, they start January, February, March in the previous season and work their way through. That's why when people say, "Why are we talking transfers in April?" Because that's when the deals start. If your club starts flat-footed in the summer, you should be protested. It's terrible business. Remember the P's. Poor preparation produces piss poor performance, the 6 Ps. So you need these deals being worked on now. But I want your thoughts and I want your feelings, people. Frenkie de Jong to Man United is still on, is still possible. Fred to Paris Saint-Germain. Could there be a kind of, I don't know if that's a triangle. It's a square, isn't it? There's 2 clubs and 2 players. But could there be a little bit of Ujima flipping around? Could that deal go through? Could United get rid of Fred, raise that money, bring in Frenkie de Jong? I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll